Sham Sharadava Nalalidaloka Tranaya Karuna Gana Ganatam Sham Sharadava Nalalidaloka Pranaya Karuna Gana Ganatam Prapta Sakalyana Gurana Vasya Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Prapta Gurana Vasya Vande Gurashi Charanara Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Charanara Vrindam Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Mahaprabhu ki Tananita Gita Vaditra Madhyam Manasura Sena Romanchakam Pasru Taranga Vajo Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Shri Vigrahara Dana Nityanana Shringaratanama Diramajanado Shri Vigrahara Jukta Sabhaktam Sa Niyunjatopi Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada Satana Triptan Hari Bhakta Sangha Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada Satana Triptan Kridvaiva Tripti Bhajata Shadeva Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Shiradikama Davayara Para Madhuralila Gunarupanam Shiradika Pratikshana Swa Danalalupasya Vande Gurashi Charanara Vrindam Ne kunja yuno rati keli siddhai jayali vir jukti apekshaniya ne kunja yuno Tatrati daksha ati balabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Sakshat Haritvena Shamasta Shastri Ruktas Tathava Vyataiva Sadhavi. Kintu pravarja priya eva tasya Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Yasya prasadat Bhagavat prasado Yasya prasadam Nagati kutapi. Yasya prasadam Yasya prasadam Nagati. Jayam stovam tasha Yasatre sandhyam Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vrindam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Saminiti Namine. Nama Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Patsatari Shatarine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Prabhupada. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hariharaya Namah Krishna Jadavaya Namah Jadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namah Gopal Govindaram Shimadhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Sita Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhattaraguna Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasaraguna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha, Nilamadhava Radha, Nilamadhava Radhe. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadrama, Jaya Sudarshan Chakra. Jaya Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Nitai Gaur Haribo, Haribo, Hari bol Nitai Gaur Hari bol Hari bol Hari bol Hari bol Nitai Gaur Premanande Jai Vishnu Paraparamsa Prabha Jagacharya Sutara Sri Shishimar His Divine Grace Abhochar Vina Bhakti Viranta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Pratishta Bhiviti Samstapakachar Vaishnava Srimani Patita Pavana Srila Prabhupada Ji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Gauriya Guru Varga Patita Udhari Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatra Gunata Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Guna Sat Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ji Ki Jai Nantakur Vaishnava Vrindi Ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव सरि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय जय परम दयाल श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय जय प्रेम नाम संकीर्तन एक जना का प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम श्री सच्चिदानंद श्रीमन गौरंग श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु गौर हरि मावरनाय अवतार की जय गोलोकेर प्रमधान हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय जुग धर्म हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय बृहत मितांग ट्रांसलेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सेवा की जय श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप कुपना राधा कुंज श्याम कुंज गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय श्री ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय तिलोचन श्री राधा नीलमाधव की जय श्री माया पूर्णवद्वीप एक चक्र धाम की जय परम करुण श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय श्री पुरुषोत्तम चित्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय श्री जगन्नाथ स्वामी बलदेव प्रभु श्रीमद सुभद्रा देवी सुदर्शन चक्र भगवान की जय सीताराम लक्ष्मण भक्त हनुमान जी की जय भक्ति सर्व विघ्न विनाशन करुण श्रृंगरे भगवान की जय जगंगा माय जमुना माई की जय तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी भक्ति देवी की जय श्री मथुरा दारानी की जय समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौरी प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल all glories to the assembly bodies all glories to the assembly bodies all glories to the assembly bodies all glories to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga
Namaste Narasimhaya
Namaste Narasimhaya
Prahlad Lad Daine Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha
Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha
Shilatankarnakhalaye
Shilatankarnakhalaye
Ito Narsimho Parato Narsimho
Ito Nisringa Parato Nisringa
Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimho
Yato Yato Yami Tato Nisringa
Bahir Narsimho Hridaye Narsimho
Bahir Nisringa Hridaye Nisringa
Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapade
Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapade
Tava Kara Kamala Varenagam Adbhuta Shingam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Benga Keshavadrita Narohari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare
Tava Kara Kamala Varenagam Adbhuta Shingam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Benga Keshavadrita Narari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare
Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे
जय केशव गीत नरहरि रूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश
जय नरसिंहदेव 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 जय नरसिंहदेव
जय नृसिंहदेव जय नृसिंहदेव जय नृसिंहदेव
जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज
जय प्रहलाद जय प्रहलाद जय प्रहलाद
निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल
जय गौरा हरि बोल जय गौरा हरि
बोलो श्री नरसिंह देव भगवान की जय भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की जय
श्री वृंदाई तुलसी बाई प्रिय केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रारि देवी सतवताय नमः नमः वृंदाई तुलसी बाई प्रिय केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रारि देवी सतवताय नमः नमः वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रिय केशव सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रारि देवी सतवताय नमो नमः श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय just the mic for me too.
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः
तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
राधा कृष्णा सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी
राधा कृष्णा सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी
તો મારા શરણ લો, તારા વંચ પૂરા ના હોય.
તે તમારા શરણાલા તારા વંચા પૂર્ણા.
કૃપા કોરી કોરો તારે વૃંદાવન વાસી.
સેવ કર વૃંદાવનવાસી.
મોરાએ અભિલાષ વિલાસ કુંજ દિયો વાસ.
મોરાએ વિલાસ કુંજે દિયાવા.
નયને હરિવો સદા જુગલ રૂપરાસી.
અમીનાને દિવસ સદા જગલ રૂપરાસી.
એ નિવેદાના ધારો સાખીરાનું ગાતા કોરો.
એને વેદાનાધર સકિરાયનો ગતકાર.
સેવા અધિકારા દિયે કોરો નિજ દાસી.
સેવાયાધિકારાદિયે કરની જદાસી.
દીના કૃષ્ણ દાસે કોએ જીના મોરા હોય.
ના કૃષ્ણદાસ કોઈ નમરા.
શ્રી રાધા ગોવિંદા પ્રેમે સદા જીના ભાસી.
શ્રી રાધા ગોવિંદ પ્રેમે સારય નવાસી.
શ્રી રાધા ગોવિંદા પ્રેમે સદા જીના ભાસી.
શ્રી રાધા ગોવિંદ પ્રેમે સદાય નવાસી.
યાની કાની ચ પાપાની બ્રહ્મા હત્યાદિકાની ચ તાની તાની પ્રનાશંતિ પ્રદક્ષિણા પદે પદે.
તાનિ ક્રાનિ સાપાપાનિ બ્રહ્મહત્યરી કનિશા. તનિ તાનિ પ્રાણસંતિ પ્રદક્ષિણા પદે પદે.
યાની કાની ચ પાપાની બ્રહ્મા હત્યાદિકાની ચ તાની તાની પ્રનાશંતિ પ્રદક્ષિણા પદે પદે.
તાનિ કાનિ સાપાપાનિ બ્રહ્મહત્યરી કનિશા. તાનિ તાનિ પ્રાણસંતિ પ્રદક્ષિણા પદે પદે.
યાની કાની ચ પાપાની બ્રહ્મા હત્યાદિકાની ચ તાની તાની પ્રનાશંતિ પ્રદક્ષિણા પદે પદે.
તાનિ કાનિ સાપાપાનિ બ્રહ્મહત્યરી કનિશા. તાનિ તાનિ પ્રાણસંતિ પ્રદક્ષિણા પદે પદે.
હરે કૃષ્ણ 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 હરે 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 રામ 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 હરે હરે.
Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare तुलसी महारानी जया, तुलसी महारानी जया, तुलसी महारानी जया, तुलसी महारानी
जय तुलसी महारानी, जय तुलसी महारानी, जय तुलसी महारानी, जय तुलसी महारानी।
जया वृंदा देवी जया, वृंदा देवी जया, वृंदा देवी जया, वृंदा देवी
जय वृंदा देवी जय, वृंदा देवी जय, वृंदा देवी जय, वृंदा देवी।
नित्य गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, नित्य गौरा हरि बोल, नित्य गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, नित्य गौरा हरि बोल। श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी वृंदा देवी की जय।
श्री वृंदाय तुलसी भाई प्रिय के सब सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सतवताय नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसी भाई प्रिय के सब सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सतवताय नमो नमः। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रिय के सब सत्य विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सतवताय श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी वृंदा देवी की जय। O Tulasi, beloved Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire to obtain the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you as wishes fulfilled, bestowing myself on him, you make him resident over Vrindavan. My desire is that you also give me a residence where the groves of Shri Vrindavan. Thus within my vision, I will always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a fellow Kavadems of Raj. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me on-met servant. His very fallen and loaded servant Krishna praise. May I always sing in love. Shri Radha. Mahaprabhu Shri Krishna ki Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Krishna Ki Jai. Namo Mahabharanaya Krishna Prema Pradaya Krishna. Oh, Krishna. Glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditioned life of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtana movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is a life of transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we're always anxious. Oh my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings. And thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all the transcendental energies. There is no even hard and fast rule for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out of kindness, we enable us to easily approach you by your holy names. But I'm so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. Once you chant the holy name of the Lord in humble state of mind, think of oneself Lord on throne street. One should be more tolerant than his tree, devoid of all sense of all prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service of birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet some or other I'm falling this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, or will my eyes will be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? Or will my voice choke up, and will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I feel all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and it should remain so. Even if some does not roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for it's always
my worshipful Lord, unconditional.
Jai Shri 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 Krishna Ki Jai.
Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Krishna. Shrimati Bhakti. Namaste Saraswati.
The item of offenses in matter of chanting of the name of the Lord that must be avoided. They are as follows. One, that's the reward is dedicate the life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Two, to consider names of demigods, the Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of the Lord Vishnu. Three, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Four, blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature to sons of Vedic version. Five, consider the glory of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. Six, to give some interpretation on holy name of the Lord. Seven, commit sinful activities in the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in Vedas as creative activity, karma karma. 9. Instruct the first person with the glorious and holy name.
Do not have complete faith in chanting holy names, and to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions in this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our most humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desired trees that can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vanchakalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vaishnava Thakur Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutali Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tanami. Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Pucharani Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Bhaskati Visna. Srimad Bhagavatam Grantaraja Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Janmadyasya Yato Nivayadi Taratas Charte Swavigya Swarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Vari Madam Yata Vinimayo Yatrachi Sargomisha Dam Nasvena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. O my Lord Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes, of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations. And he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen on fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Dharma Pujita Kaitrulotra Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam Tapa Trayon Mulanam Shrimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Purer Ishwaram Sadyo Hridi Avurudyate Cha Krite Bihi Subhistakshana. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from an illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Nigama kapataro galitam phalam Sukamukad Amrita Dravya Samritam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhur Ahoraska Bhuvibhavaka. O expert and thoughtful man, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desired true Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore this truth has become even more tasteful. Although its nectarine juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Shinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantakstohi Bhadrani Vidu Noti Srihit Satam. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita, is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. Nastapresu abhadresu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utamasloke bhaktir bhavati naistaki. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. Tadarajastamo bhava kamalobhadayaschaye chete tarinavidam stitvam sattve prasidati. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice are diminished. Evam prasana manaso bhagavat bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Vidyate Hridaya Grantis, Chidyante Sarvasamsaya, Siyante Chasikarmani, Drista Evat Manishwari. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of a samsayam samagram, understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth Personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Shri Guru Vastika prayers ki jai. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy, just as a cloud pours water on forest fire to extinguish it. So the spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such a spiritual master who is an ocean of auspicious qualities. Chanting the holy name, dancing in ecstasy, singing and playing musical instruments. The spiritual master is always gladdened by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he is relishing the mellows of pure devotion within his mind. Sometimes his hair stands on end. He feels quivering in his body, and tears flow from his eyes like waves. I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship of Shri Radha and Krishna. He also engages his disciples in such worship. They dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments, clean their temple, and perform other similar worship of the Lord. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is always offering Krishna 4 kinds of delicious food. Analyzes that which is licked, chewed, drunk, and sucked. When the spiritual master sees that the devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavat Prasada, he is satisfied. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is always eager to hear and chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes of Radhika and Madhava, and their qualities, names, and forms. The spiritual master aspires to relish these at every moment. I offer my respectful obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is very dear because he is expert in assisting the gopis who at different times make different tasteful arrangements for the perfection of Radha and Krishna's conjugal loving affairs within the groves of Vrindavana.
The spiritual master is very dear because he is expert in assisting the gopis who at different times make different tasteful arrangements for the perfection of Radha and Krishna.
I offer my most humble obeisance unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. The spiritual master is to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential servitor of the Lord. This is acknowledged in all revealed scriptures and followed by all authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Shri Hare Krishna.
Therefore, I offer my humble obeisance to the lotus feet of such a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Shri Hare Krishna.
By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna.
By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction.
Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master.
Therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master.
At least 3 times a day, I should offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of my spiritual master.
At least 3 times a day, I should offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of my spiritual master.
Shri Brahma Samhita ki jai, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Nadiradi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Chintamani Prakarsat Nasikalpa Vriksha Lakshavrite Surabhira Vipaliantam Lakshmi Sahasra Satasambhrama Sevyamanam Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venum Krananta Ravinda Dalayataksham Bharhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Sobham Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandra Kala Sadvanamalya Vamsi Ratnam Gadam Pranaya Keli Kalabilasam Shyamam Tribangala Itam Niyata Prakasam Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pasyanti Panti Kalyanti Chiran Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujvala Vigrahasya Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedesu Durlavam Adurlavam Atma Bhakto Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Satavatsara Sampragamyo Vayoratapi Manaso Munipungamanam Sopyastiyat Prapadasimya Vichintya Tatve Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopya Sorachayitam Jagaranda Kotim Yachchakti Rasti Jagaranda Chayayadanta Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yad Bhava Bhavita Diyo Manajasta Taivas Samprapya Rupa Mahima Sanayana Bhusaha Suktar Yameva Nikama Pratitaistuvanti Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Patibhavitabhis Tabirya Eva Nija Rupa Taya Kalabi Goloka Eva Nivasata Kilatma Bhuto Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santak Sadaiva Hidayesu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Murti Sukalani Amenatistan Nana Avatara Makarod Bhuvanesa Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavad Paramam Pumam Yo Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagananda Koti Koti Svasesu Vasudadi Vibhuti Binam Tad Brahmaniskalam Anantam Asesa Bhutam Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Maya Hiyasya Jagadanda Satani Sute Trigun Yatad Vishayaveda Vitayamana Sattva Pralambi Parasatvam Visuddha Sattvam Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasatmataya Manasu Ya praninam pratifalam smaratam upetya. Lilayatena bhuvanani jayaya jasram. Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Golokanamni nijadamni tale chatasya. Devi mahesha haritama sute sutesu. Te te prabhava nichaya vitascha yena. Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Shishti stati pralaya sadhana saktireka. Chayeva yasya bhavanani vibharti durga. Ichchana rupam apiyasya chachestate sa. Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Shiram yatav nadi vikara vishesa yoga. Sanjayate nahitata pritakasti hetuho. Yasambutam apitata samapaitikarya. Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Deeparchadeva hitasantaram abhyupetya. Deepayate vivita hetu samanudharma. Yastadrigeva hicha vishnutaya vibhati. Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yakarnanarna vajale vajati sma yoga. Nidram mananta jagadanta saroma kupaha. Adhara shaktim avalambya param swamurtim. Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yasyaika nisvasita kalam atavalambya. Jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanataha. Vishnu mahansa hiya yasya kala vishesho. Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Basvam yatasma sakalesu nijesu tejaha. Sviyam kiyat prakatayat apitadvatatra. Brahmaya esa jagadanda vidana karta. Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yat pada palava yugam vinidaya kumbha. Vanve pranama samayesu ganadi rajaha. Vignan vihantam alamasya jagatrayasya. Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami samayesu. Agnir mahi gaganam ambu marudisascha. Kalastatatma manasitti jagatrayani. Yasmad bhavanti vibhavanti vishanti yamcha. Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yatchak suresa savita sakala grahanam. Raja samasta suramurti rasesa tejaha. Yasya gaya brahmati sambrita kala chakro. Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Dharmota Papa Nichaya Srutayastapamsi. Brahmadi Kita Patagava Dayascha Jivaha. Yadata Matra Vibhava Prakatasva Prabhava Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yastrindra Gopam Atavendra Maho Swakarma. Bandhanu Rupa Falabhajana Matanoti. Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajan. Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Yam Krodha Kama Sahaja Pranayadi Vitti. Vatsalya Moha Guru Gaura Vasevya Bhavahai. Sanchitya Tasya Sadrisim Tanamapurete. Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Shriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpataravo. Druma Bhumish Chintamani Gani Mayi Toyam Amritam. Kata Ganam Natyam Gamanam Apivamsi Priya Saki. Chidadantam Jyoti Param Apitad Asvadyam Apicha. Sayatra Shiradi Bhi Shravati Shravi Vyascha Sumahan. Nime Sardakyo Va Rajati Nahiyatra Pisamaya. Vaje Svita Dvipam Tamaham Iha Golokam Itiyam. Vidantaste Santakshiti Viralachara Katipaye. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 6, verse number 31. Narayane Bhagavati Tadidam Vishwam Ahitam Grihita Mayayoru Guna Sargadav Aguna Swata. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. All the material manifestations of universes are therefore situated in his powerful material energies, which he accepts self-sufficiently, although he is eternally without affinity for the material modes. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. The question put by Narada before Brahma concerning the sustenance of the material creation is thus answered. Material actions and reactions, as the material scientists can superficially observe, are not basically ultimate truth in regard to creation, maintenance, and destruction. The material energy is a potency of the Lord which is displayed in time, accepting the three qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance in the forms of Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. The material energy thus works under the supreme spell of his lordship, although he is always transcendental to all such material activities. A rich man constructs a big house by spending his energy in the shape of resources, and similarly he destroys a big house by his resources. But the maintenance is always under his personal care. The Lord is the richest of the rich, because he is always fully complete in six opulences. Therefore, he is not required to do anything personally, but everything in the material world is carried out by his wishes and directions. Therefore, the entire material manifestation is situated in Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impersonal conception of the Supreme Truth is due to lack of knowledge only, and this fact is clearly explained by Brahmaji, who is supposed to be the creator of the universal affairs. Brahmaji is the highest authority in Vedic wisdom, and his assertion in this connection is therefore the supreme information. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All the material manifestations of the universes are therefore situated in his powerful material energies, which he accepts self-sufficiently, although he is eternally without affinity for the material modes. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Basically, what's being said here is that Krishna is the cause and the effect of everything. Now, that is not understandable by materialists. How can something be the cause and the effect? However, here it says that which he accepts self-sufficiently. That means that he does not depend on anyone else. Therefore, he can be the cause and the effect. And he's but at the same time, he's completely independent of the material nature. Now, no one else can emulate that. And in fact, it seems to be impossible that someone could have so much power to be the cause and the effect, and even though the effect is the material world, and he's the cause of it, he is not affected by anything in the material world. He's transcendental always. This can only be understood by devotees who are following the regulative principles, chanting their rounds, and regularly hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Anybody, even devotees who don't do this, cannot understand this. And we have one example of that recently. Okay, I'm not going to say it because it might hurt people's feelings, so I won't say it. Anyway, the fact that the Lord can be the cause of everything and yet independent of everything is impossible to understand by materialists, because when they're the cause of something, they are completely involved in that thing and identify with it and are affected by it. Whatever happens, they get affected by whatever happens to that thing that they caused because they're attached. But Krishna is not affected at all. He's always transcendental. He's always independent. No matter what, although he creates the entire material world through his different energies, and he has three types of energies. They're called internal energies, external energies, and marginal energies. And all these things are acting under his control. And everything belongs to him. Now, this is another inconceivable concept for materialists. How can everything belong to him? Where people are falsely claiming, oh, no, this thing belongs to me. What do you mean it belongs to Krishna? It doesn't. My body belongs to me. Just like women say, oh, the government cannot get involved in my body. I'm free to do whatever I want within my body. So if I want to have an abortion, I can have an abortion. The government should stay out of my womb. That's a bunch of nonsense. Okay, maybe the government doesn't own her womb, but Krishna does. And she has no control over what's happening in her womb. If she eats too much junk food, engages in too much illicit activities, her womb has to be taken out. This happens often to women because they contaminate themselves. And therefore, this body does not belong to us. It belongs to Krishna. And everything else also belongs to Krishna. But it takes a long, long time for people to realize this. And in the meantime, they're suffering all kinds of miseries. Therefore, it says that after many, many births and deaths, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanavamam Prapadyante Vasudeva Saramiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. After many, many births and deaths, one eventually may come to knowledge, and by coming to knowledge, they understand Krishna, you are everything. Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanavamam Prapadyante Vasudeva Samaram Iti. Krishna, you are everything. Vasudeva Saramiti. Samahatma Sudurlabha. Such a great soul is very rare. When you understand that Krishna is the cause and the effect of everything, and yet he's not affected by anything. So there's effect and affect, right? Effect begins with an E, affect begins with an A. So effect means the result of something that's done, and affect means something that influences you. Although they're pronounced almost exactly the same, effect and affect. So, when we do something that's an effect of our activities, and we attach to that thing, we are affected by it. Whatever happens to that thing influences us. And therefore, like for example, if you own a house and you cluttered the house up with so many personal possessions and family pictures from years and years ago, and all kinds of different things. The color of the paint that you chose, and the different upholsteries and curtains and all kinds of little gadgets that you have in the house, and all of a sudden it burns down. It really affects you. You say, "Oh my God, it happened so fast. I wasn't able to save anything. I lost everything, all the pictures of the family, and my Rolex watch also burned, and this and that." And they get affected by it. They feel morose and very, very defeated, and they feel as if the rug has been pulled from under their feet, as they say in English. So that means you fall over and you're completely humiliated. Well, actually, it never belonged to them in the first place. They didn't make the material energy. They're not the real proprietor. Krishna is the real proprietor. Bhoktaram yakitapasam sarvaloka maheswaram sridam sarvabhutanam gyatvam santam richati. So this concept that the cause and effect is actually Krishna, this is explained in many places in the Srimad Bhagavatam and in the Bhagavad Gita. And we're going to go over this because this is a point that is almost impossible for everyone to understand. How can he be both the cause and the effect? Well, that's only because he's self-sufficient. He doesn't depend on anyone else. He has such powerful energies that he can be the cause and the effect. So this is explained in 2nd Canto, 5th chapter, 2nd verse. Let's see. That's what that says. 2nd Canto, 5th chapter, 2nd verse. Well, here Narada is asking Brahma, "My dear father, please describe factually the symptoms of this manifested world. What is its background? How is it created? How is it conserved? And under whose control is all this being done?" That's an important question by Narada, and he can only find out by asking Brahma, who knows all this knowledge, because Brahma is the first created being, and he meditated for a long time and did tapasya, and finally Krishna revealed to him the truth of the origin of everything, and the controller of everything, and the maintainer of everything, and the destroyer of everything. That's Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in the purport it says, the inquiries by Narada on the basis of factual cause and effect appear very reasonable. Factual cause and effect. That means that most people don't factually understand cause and effect. The atheists, however, put forward many self-made theories without any touch of cause and effect. That's a big statement by Prabhupada. In other words, he is canceling out all the scientists and philosophers because they're all speculators. Not one of them has got the truth in toto. They've always maybe have few little bits and pieces of the truth, but their theories are always fall short of explaining everything. Just like Einstein, so-called one of the smartest men in the history of the world, he also failed in proving and establishing the understanding of how everything is happening. So he came up with certain aspects of the truth where he says that energy can transform into matter and matter can go back into energy. But he didn't understand what's called the complete field theory, how everything is going on. He couldn't come up with an equation of how everything is going on and how it's completely understood. So, it's called a unified field theory. Let's look that up, unified field theory. Let's see what it says. So, it says here, the manifested world as well as the spirit soul is still unexplained by the godless atheists through the medium of experimental knowledge, although they have put forward many theories manufactured by their fertile brains. Contrary to such mental speculative theories of creation, however, Narada Muni wants to know all the facts of creation in truth and not by theories. There you go. So, therefore they say Darwin's theory. They say the Big Bang theory. And then they say the theory of well, the theory of creation, the theory of evolution, the theory of economic theories, social theories, psychological theories. They're all theories. A theory means it's not actually verified that it's true in all circumstances. It seems to be true in some circumstances, but even that may not be true. So it's just a theory. And so here Narada Muni is so smart, he says, look, I don't want any theories. I want to know the truth. Don't give me some theory, string theory, or electromagnetic theory, or this theory, or that theory. Tell me the truth. Tell me what it actually is. See? So the scientists and philosophers, they only have theories. So what does it say, unified field theory?
Unified field theory in particle physics, an attempt to describe all fundamental forces.
That's it. The attempt to explain all fundamental forces.
And the relationship between elementary particles in terms of single theoretical framework.
Okay, that's a blah, 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 blah. I don't understand that. That's it. Understand, what was it? Understand how everything works, all the fundamental forces.
Correct. And also they say whether theoretical physics have taken up the cause of it.
Okay, theoretical physics. It's all theory.
That unifies all known forces of nature. Einstein.
Well, that unifies all known forces of nature. See?
And they say that Einstein never finished the unified.
He never finished it, of course. Why? Because he was an atheist. Although they try and make him out as being, he believed in God, blah, blah, blah. No, he didn't believe in God. He was an atheist. But Narada Muni is not an atheist. Brahma is not an atheist. And they can understand the unified field theory. Unified field theory is that Krishna is the cause and effect of everything. That's the unified field theory. And by his three energies, internal energy, external energy, and marginal energy, he's controlling everything. Everything is unified within his incredible energies. That's the unified field theory. You see, by reading Bhagavatam, we can correct all these false theories of the scientists and the philosophers. All they do is come up with theories. Nothing is for sure. Just like they say, Trump said, now I made the vaccine. Now that they're using the vaccine, there's like 7 or 8 or 10 of them, right? Different ones. And just yesterday they said, this one vaccine is only good for like 42%. So, and then this other vaccine doesn't work in these conditions. And this other vaccine, it's okay, but it doesn't always work. So it's all a bunch of nonsense, all theories. Nothing is absolutely sure. So then Prabhupada says, transcendental knowledge regarding the soul and the supersoul includes knowledge of the phenomenal world, the basis of its creation, and the basis of its creation. This is called transcendental knowledge regarding the soul and the supersoul. In the phenomenal world, 3 things are factually observed by any intelligent man: the living beings, the manifest world, and the ultimate control over them. Okay. So these are the 3 things everybody sees. That is, they see living entities. That is, they see the manifest world. The mountains and the rivers and the oceans and the trees and the bugs and the snakes and the rabbits and this thing and that thing. They see all these things, right? And then the last thing is that the ultimate control over them. Well, we know that. When a tsunami comes, we know that Crazy Joe does not control them. Or when a hurricane comes, we know that Trump does not control it. And when there's a earthquake, we know that Putin doesn't control it, and so forth. We can see that there's a supreme controller, and all these things are happening, and no one can do anything to stop it. Even though they have the strongest army in the world, they have atomic bombs, nuclear bombs, this bomb, that bomb, but they can't control these things. They can't control the flooding of a river, especially big rivers, and they can't control their own passing stool and urine. Eventually, they lose control, and these old men, women, they have to wear diapers because they can't control their own stool and urine. It happens many times. They lose control. So the intelligent man can see that neither the living entity nor the phenomenal world are creations of chance. The symmetry of creation and its regulative actions and reactions suggest the plan of an intelligent brain behind them. And by genuine inquiry, one may find out the ultimate cause with the help of one who knows them factually. That's exactly what Narada Muni is doing. He's trying to find out the ultimate cause of everything by asking someone who factually knows them. It's Lord Brahma. He has real experience of how the world was created, the material world was created. Okay. So that's one. Now, the second canto, 5th chapter, 19th verse, is also explaining further. And it says, these three modes of material nature being further manifested as matter, knowledge, and activities, put the eternally transcendental living entity under conditions of cause and effect, and make him responsible for such activities. Well, you see, Krishna is both the cause and effect, and he is because he's completely self-sufficient. But we are what you would say completely dependent on cause and effect, because we're not self-sufficient. We are dependent, and therefore cause and effect are bewildering to us. Like, for example, someone says, well, I never left the house. I always kept my mask on, even in the house. And I was always using the hand sanitizer, and I was using it on my toilet, and I was using it on all the things in my house. I was keep purifying them with the hand sanitizer, and I still got it. I still got the COVID. And they say, I can't understand how it happened. Well, you can't understand how it happened because you don't understand everything. Because the ultimate cause of everything is Krishna. And even though you did the hand sanitizing ritual, and you did the mask ritual, and you did this ritual and that ritual, it didn't work. Because there's a supreme controller. You're not the controller. I'm not the controller. Krishna is the controller. So until people realize these things, they're always victims and confused by dualities and by cause and effect. So it says, because they are between internal and external potencies, the eternal transcendental living entities are called the marginal potency of the Lord. Factually, the living entities are not meant to be so conditioned by material energy, but due to their being affected, or influenced, or in some way or other influenced by outside forces, affected by the false sense of lording it over the material energy, they come under the influence of such potency and thus become conditioned by the three modes of material nature. So as soon as that false ego is there, the false ego is summarized as I, me, and mine. I, me, and mine. Aham mameti. This is false ego. Everything is mine. This is mine. That is mine. Give me that. That belongs to me. You can't have that. You can't use this. This is mine. Get out of my house. You're trespassing on my property. This I, me, and mine concept is called the false ego. Because nothing is I, me, and mine. Everything belongs to Krishna. So we have to understand that. Otherwise, we develop this false ego. And because of that false ego, what happens? The external energy of the Lord covers up the pure knowledge of the living entities eternally existing with Him. But the covering is so constant that it appears that the conditioned soul is eternally ignorant. Such is the wonderful action of Maya, or external energy, manifested as if materially produced. By the covering power of material energy, the material scientist cannot look beyond the material causes, but factually, behind the material manifestations, there are Adibhuta, Adhyatma, and Adidaiva actions, which the conditioned soul in the mode of ignorance cannot see. The Adibhuta manifestation entails repetitions of births and deaths, with old age and diseases. The Adhyatma manifestation conditions the spirit soul, and the Adidaiva manifestation is the controlling system. So that's the devas under the influence of Krishna. They're controlling things in the material world: the rain, the wind, the currents, and the digestion. And all these things are controlled by the devas. But actually, Krishna is the supreme controller of even the devas. Right? So people don't understand these things. These are the material manifestations of cause and effect. This Adi, Bhuta, Adhyatma, and Adideva. Adibhuta means birth, death, old age, and disease, anything that's affecting the body. Adhyatma is other people affecting this body, as it says. The Adhyatma manifestation conditions the spirit soul. Yeah, we're conditioned. We get attached to other people. Let's say someone falls in love with this very beautiful woman, and after they're married, they find out she has cancer. Now he's got to take her to the hospital. He's got to pay for the chemotherapy. He's got to do this. He's got to do that, right? Because he became attached to the beautiful woman, but he didn't know that she had cancer. And because he's attached, now he has to go through this whole process of taking her here, taking her there, seeing this doctor, seeing that doctor, getting this procedure, getting that procedure, right? And then when she gets really, really sick, he's got to change her diaper and bathe her and feed her and this thing and that thing, you know. So it's all because of this attachment. So that is Adi Atmika, and Adidaivika is the influence of the demigods. They're controlling the rain, they're controlling the winds, they're controlling the currents, they're controlling the digestion, they're controlling everything. But yet we claim to be independent, which is another foolish idea. These are the material manifestations of cause and effect, and the sense of responsibility of the conditioned actors. Yeah, just like the man who became attached to that beautiful woman, and now he has this sense of responsibility to help her heal from cancer. You see. So this is what's going on every day in the material world. They are, after all, manifestations of the conditioned state, and the human being's freedom from such a conditioned state is the highest perfectional attainment. If we can liberate ourselves from all these attachments, then that is the best thing that can happen to us. So how do we liberate ourselves? Well, not in the fake way of the Mayavadis. The Mayavadis say, well, just reject everything. That's nonsense. No. But the Vaishnavas say, no, let's just use everything properly in the service of Krishna. We're not rejecting anything. So the Mayavadis are rejectors, and the devotees are what you would call yogis, connectors. There's a difference between a rejector and a connector. The devotees connect everything to Krishna. And the Mayavadis reject Krishna even. That means they reject everything, including Krishna. So you see, their philosophy is another theory that doesn't work. There's so many theories that don't work, right? But it could take you a whole lifetime or many lifetimes to realize that the Mayavad philosophy does not work, because people keep falling down even if they attain their so-called perfection of merging into the Brahma Jyoti. So we see, we should be like Narada. We should say, I don't want to hear any theories. Just tell me what the facts are. Just give me the facts. I don't want to hear any theories anymore. And scientists say, yeah, well, we're getting there. Just give us another 30 years. We'll have the whole picture. The unified field theory. Bunch of nonsense. They'll never have the unified field theory because they're atheists. They don't even believe in the existence of God. So how are they going to have the unified field theory? You see? Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. There's a lot more to say about this. We have to go to second canto, 6th chapter, 33rd verse, second canto, 5th chapter, verses 19 to 25, and second canto, 5th chapter, verses 69 to 72. There's so much to say about this. This is a huge subject, cause and effect. And also Bhagavad Gita 5.10, and Bhagavad Gita 13.13, and Bhagavad Gita 13.5. There's all this information about this cause and effect and how people are subjected to it, although they think they understand it, but they don't understand anything. So we see, even Einstein's supposed to be the smartest guy in the world, right? In the history of the world, he could not finish the unified field theory. That means that as long as they remain atheists, they'll never understand things factually. So thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
It is one of the purport.
Speak into the microphone.
Yeah, in the one of the purport it says that the living entity is not meant for conditioned by the
Yes.
material energy, right?
Yeah.
So Krishna has created, it's a Krishna's energy, like material energy and these things. So I'm just wondering, like, if we won't have this material energy, like how, and it happens because he's trying to lord over the material energy. If that material energy doesn't exist, so how he will try to do? I mean, that won't even come into picture if he doesn't have
it. As soon
it.
as you use the word if, it's speculation. In French, there's a famous saying, avec un si, on peut mettre tout Paris dans une bouteille de vin. In other words, they say, with an if, you can put the entire city of Paris into a wine bottle. You see, you use the word if. That's all. That's speculation. There's no such thing as if there wasn't a material nature, then no one would be conditioned. But there is a material nature because people have free will, and when they misuse the free will, they reject Krishna. They want to be Krishna, then they're put into the material world forcibly. Just like when you break the law, you're forcibly put into jail, whether you like it or you don't. You're forcibly arrested, and then you're forcibly indicted, and then if the jury finds you guilty, you're forcibly put in jail. Like this one politician, and she was a famous politician. This happened recently. And then she went through a whole trial, and she was convicted. And when she was convicted, the judge said, "Okay, handcuff her and take her out, put her in jail." And then she started fighting with the policemen. They were supposed to handcuff her, and they finally handcuffed her. And then she refused to move, so they dragged her. They dragged her out of. And there's a whole video of this on the internet. They're dragging her out of the courtroom into the police car, and driving her to the jail, dragging her out of the car, dragging her into the penitentiary, and dragging her into the cell and throwing her in there and locking her, right? So that's us. We're that politician being dragged out of the court after being convicted of voluntarily leaving Krishna and being envious of him, and we're put into the material world, into a material body. And then we have to go through a whole process of birth and death to come to the human form. And in the human form, instead of engaging in yajna, dana, and tapa, that is sacrifice, or yajnas, charity, dana, and tapasya, we're engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending based on sense gratification. And therefore, we can't get out. We must accept yagya, dana, tapa to get out. Yagya means acts of sacrifice, always. That means you're giving up something. Sacrifice means you're giving up. Just like when a person joins Krishna consciousness, they have to give up certain things. And they have to accept other things. See? So the biggest thing you have to give up is, I am this body. This house belongs to me. This family is mine. These kids are mine. This pocketbook is mine. This car is mine. Everything is mine. I, me, and mine. We have to give that up. And as long as we can't give that up, that aham mameti concept, we're conditioned. Doesn't matter you're even chanting Hare Krishna. As long as you don't give that up, you're still conditioned. and most people can't, even their devotees, they don't understand. I'm not saying everyone is like that, but many people are like that. They can't give up these concepts of I, me, and mine. So there's no such thing. If there wasn't a material world, then we would not be conditioned. There's no. There is, because we revolted against Krishna and wanted to emulate Krishna. We were forced, against our will even. We were forced to come to the... Actually, we were so stupid, we came voluntarily. And now we're stuck. And there's no way we're going to get out unless we completely surrender to the Lord. And use everything in the service of the Lord. Not follow the false Mayavadi philosophy or theory that, Krishna doesn't exist, there's only Brahman. There are falsities at every step in the material world. And unless we listen carefully to Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, no matter how smart we are, look, the smartest guy in the world, he actually was not that smart. He's so smart, he didn't believe God exists. So how smart is he then? He's not any smarter than the dumbest guy walking on the street. And the proof is he couldn't finish the unified field theory because he doesn't believe in God. Okay, so there's no such thing as with if. And whenever you say if, that means stop and sit down because you don't know what you're talking about. Haribol. Yeah, one time, some man, an Indian man, after a lecture of Prabhupada, he asked a question. He said, Prabhupada, what if we assume that there is no God? And Prabhupada said, stop. He said, wait a minute, Prabhupada, I didn't ask my question. He said, stop. That's not a question. He said, what do you mean it's not a question? It's not logical. Wait a minute. We do this in college all the time. We ask these hypothetical questions. Stop. There's nothing hypothetical. This is nonsense. He wouldn't even let him finish the question because he said, what if we assume that God doesn't exist? Well, that's not a question. That's not logical. What do you mean God doesn't exist? How did you get here in the first place? You see? So Prabhupada stopped him right away. He said, stop. This is not a question. This is not logical. If there is not God, then what? What are you going to say? Then this, then that. It's all theory. You see? So whenever you start a question with if, that means you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. That's why the French, they say with an if, you can put the whole city of Paris into one little wine bottle. Haribol. Yeah. Oh, again, what happened? Something happened.